All right, so we're at a pivotal moment here on the property. We've got all of our area over here kind of somewhat prepped and ready to go. I've got a temporary layout. You can see the little flags where the corner markers are. That one over there is just for me to find a straight line, but the building's probably going to be somewhere this flag and that flag, and then these two closer. I took the box blade, cleaned the area up a little bit. We're still waiting on dirt, but next couple days are going to be dry. I'm just going to go ahead and move forward and get the building pushed to go up. When we do get dirt, we'll go ahead and just add it in around the posts. Home Depot delivered all the wood and concrete necessary. So on the bottom we've got a stack of 2x6s, 16 foot long, and 6x6 by 12s. So the idea, we're going to dig a hole roughly 4 foot into the ground, and then I'm going to set some concrete down below as acting like kind of like a footer. We'll let that harden, and then we're going to get the 6x6s on top of them and fill the rest up with concrete to encase it. But the goal is to have roughly 3.5 to 4 foot of that post inside the ground to make it as stable as possible. The building is going to be 24 by 24, which will set our 3 trusses 12 foot apart. And then the 2x6 by 16s probably get cut down. If we don't, that's going to give us roughly 32 roof, and I don't want them overhanging the building that far. So we'll probably narrow those down just a little bit, and then just use that extra, those cutoffs. They don't make a 2x6 by 14. You can get it in a 12 foot length or a 16 foot length, but they do not come at 14 footer, which would have been perfect to build the roof and then give you, the 2 foot overhang. So we'll just have to roll with it. So since these posts are going to be buried about 4 foot in the ground, I'm thinking I want to give it some sort of preservation or some sort of protection right where it comes up out of the ground, right where it meets the dirt, or in some cases possibly concrete in the future. So my plan is going to be to get about the 3.5 foot to 4 foot range. I'm going to paint all of that with some used motor oil. We just did a service on our lawn tractor that we use around the house, and before I took it down to AutoZone to dump it, I kind of had this project in mind. So stopped at Home Depot today, grabbed the tart for the concrete, and while I was there I got a nice cheap throwaway brush. So I'm gonna get these posts measured out and get them set up in a good spot, and I'm going to coat the hell out of them. All right, so I'm gonna try to talk and chew bubblegum here at the same time while I'm getting these areas painted up with our motor oil here. If y'all remember on the shed build I did, I ended up taking a oil-based paint, and I think it was like a reject off of the Home Depot paint line. Someone had ordered it, and I think it was like, you know, the color didn't match or something like that, but we got like a really good discounted rate on it. So we took that oil-based paint, and all the 4x4s I put in the ground, I'd done the same thing. Just above where the post was going to be exposed, coming out of the concrete, because we did pour a concrete slab, I coated that whole area with that oil-based paint, and I believe I probably did 2 or 3 coats on it. So far so good, and that little shed's probably been around for at least 2 years now, probably getting close to 3. And even though I got a bunch of shit piled up around it, every now and then I'll go and check the post just to look and see. And they're still in good shape. I don't see any rot. I don't see any fungus growth or anything like that. The shed is pretty watertight, so we might be lucky. But just for insurance, I can't dig this thing out of the ground and paint it after it starts rotting. So if I take a little time now and put the work in, I will hope that in 20 or 30 years, when my daughters have to worry about this, not me, that these posts will still be in the ground, still standing. I tell you what, we are in the second week of June, and we are in Florida. And so I've already been to work for 10 hours today. We started out nice, cool, kind of cool, foggy, and it has taken everything in my power to not get up and go inside to get away from Satan's butthole right now. It is so damn hot today. But it's not raining. And if you know Florida weather, you got to do what you can before the rain comes. This will be the bottom of the post. Obviously, right, we've already talked about it. That's kind of why I'm coating it. And on the bottom of these posts, before we set them in the ground, I'm gonna come through, probably, if we bury them 4 foot, I'm probably gonna come about 2 foot off the bottom, and I'm gonna auger a hole right straight through this post. And I'm gonna take one of these pieces of rebar, steel right here, and I'm gonna cut it. It's a 2 foot piece, so I'm gonna cut it in half. I'm gonna auger a hole through this 6x6 and then push this rebar through it. So the post will be sitting on top of a concrete pad inside the hole, and then this piece of rebar will be driven through it. We'll set this into the hole, and we'll fill that hole up full of concrete. So the concrete will work its way all the way up past this rebar, which should help give our building uplift protection. So that's why we use hurricane anchors and houses to keep all those parts connected together, minimize the amount of lift, the momentary lift, the strong force of wind getting up underneath it and just wanting to blow it up and rip it out. All right, well, I know not everyone's going to probably agree with our technique here, but I think it'll work fairly well. I'm not too skeptical about it. I think a lot of people, when they do these projects, they end up just putting the post right in the ground and don't do anything at all. So like I mentioned earlier, I think just the added insurance and possible protection. The used motor oil is kind of being repurposed, and yeah, you know, only time will tell. So what I do know is that these posts are going to be going in the ground, and it will still make a shed. So whether I use oil-based paint, use motor oil, the fancy plastic sleeves that are like $30-something or $20-something a piece, do absolutely nothing. No matter what, we're going to have a shed at a pole barn at the end, and I'm pretty happy about that. So let's take a moment and go look at the pigs.